Hello dear students, today we will see photoelectric effect. Okay. What is photoelectric effect? The definition is the ejection of electron from the surface of metal by radiation. Okay, if this is our metal surface, there are some electrons present on the metal surface. Let's say sodium Na11. So the outermost electron will be like this. So valential electrons, these are present at the metal surface, and when radiation is emitted, what happens? It has some energy. The radiation has some energy, and that energy is obtained by electron, and electron get ejected. And here is a vacant space. This is called as photoelectric effect, the ejection of electron from the surface of metal by the radiation. Got it? Now, why this happens? See, in the classical physics, how classical theory explains the photoelectric effect, that see, there is a radiation. What is radiation according to classical theory? It is just electromagnetic wave. So what it will have? It will have the perpendicular electric field. It will have electric field perpendicular to the axis, right? And will have some, as it is the wave, it has crest, it has trough, and some amplitude, right? It has amplitude also. Then what happens? As it has amplitude, particular amplitude, now what will be the intensity of this radiation? Intensity can be given in terms of amplitude. A is equals to amplitude. For any radiation, what is value of amplitude? See, for any radiation, I is directly proportional to A square. Okay, I is directly proportional to A square for any wave, right? So for any wave or any radiation, its intensity is directly proportional to the square of its amplitude. Now what happens when this radiation hits the metal surface? What happens? It contains some electric field around it, right? Perpendicular oscillating electric and magnetic field. So it has some electric field, and this electric field, due to this electric field, the electron on the surface of metal will also start oscillating. Here is oscillating electric field. Radiation consists of perpendicular oscillating electric field, right? And magnetic field also. Let's see, it has some oscillating electric field. Due to that oscillating electric field, the metal in contact with this radiation, the electrons on the metal surface will also start to oscillate, right? Because of presence of electric field, oscillating electric field, the electrons will also start oscillate. And as the amplitude of the radiation or amplitude of this electric field wave is increased, the intensity will also increase, or intensity is directly proportional to amplitude square. So amplitude and intensity are, we can take similar. So what happens? As its amplitude increases, the oscillations of electron will also increase, and at a particular point, electron will oscillate such a vigorously that it will eject from the metal surface. It will eject from this electron will get ejected from the metal surface due to this oscillation, due to vigorous oscillation. This is told by classical theory. Classical theory provides this explanation for photoelectric effect. But see, what is the result of this? This explanation shows that there should be, see, as electron is ejected, here from here, let's electron is ejected. Now it will have some kinetic energy, right? As it is in motion, it has some kinetic energy. And now its kinetic energy, according to classical theory, its kinetic energy is directly proportional to intensity of radiation. Because as amplitude increases, intensity increases, oscillations become vigorous, and then electron is ejected and it will have same kinetic energy as that of intensity of radiation, due to which it is ejected. So the kinetic energy will depend upon intensity of the radiation, incident radiation, according to classical theory. But you know, when experiments are done, experiments are performed, then it was seen that kinetic energy is not proportional to intensity. While see, so experimentally the classical theory fails here, right? There is a contradiction between these experimental values and the classical theory, assumptions of classical theory. So this was the first point, that means kinetic energy is not proportional to intensity experimentally, but classically it should be proportional to intensity. This was first contradiction. And second contradiction was, see what it says, it just depend on the amplitude depend on the intensity, and now amplitude and kinetic energy should depend on amplitude, and amplitude will depend upon intensity, because see, a square is directly, or I intensity is directly proportional to a square, so root I is proportional to a. Likewise, whatever it may be, but kinetic energy is proportional to amplitude and it is proportional to intensity according to classical theory, and there is no relation between frequency and kinetic energy. Kinetic energy will not depend upon frequency. We didn't mention frequency, right? So kinetic energy will not depend on frequency. Kinetic energy of ejected electron is independent of frequency. These assumptions are of according to, and here kinetic energy is proportional to intensity, according to classical theory. According to classical theory, kinetic energy is proportional to intensity, and kinetic energy of ejected electron is independent of frequency. But experimentally scientists observed that kinetic energy is independent of intensity. Experiments shown that the intensity has no effect on kinetic energy of radiation. Kinetic energy of ejected electron. And second was, kinetic energy depends upon frequency. If we change the frequency, the kinetic energy of the radiation changes. This is observed by experiments. So there is a contradiction, there is a big contradiction. Now the Albert Einstein explained this contradiction, how photoelectric effect can be explained then. If classical theory is going to fail, or classical theory is failed, then Einstein proposed a new concept to explain photoelectric effect. What he did, he just extended the Planck's theory. Okay, what was that? Planck said that the energy of electrons are quantized. How? E is equals to NH nu, right? Or delta E is equals to H nu. So energy of electron is quantized. This is explained by Planck. Now Einstein just extended his concept. Okay, what Einstein said, Einstein said that not only just the electronic energies or the whatever, these are not just quantized, but the radiation itself contains the quantum. That means contains some packet of energies. What he proposed, if this is electron, it will have some energy that is h nu amount of energy, and h nu amount of energy, right? But when, according to Planck, when it is ejected, or when it is in the radiation form, if there is a radiation, then it has the energy, it will be in the it will be not in the form of bundle or particular value. It will be in the form of radiation. When it is ejected, it will be in the form of radiation. But Einstein extended this concept as when he said actually the radiation itself contain quantum of energies or packets of energies. Or we can say bundle of energies. So this radiation is not in the form of like this, it is in the form of packets. It has packets of NH nu, NH nu, NH nu. So radiation is itself made up of packets of energy. This is said by Einstein. So Einstein used Planck's concept of quantization to explain photoelectric effect. He extended this concept to the radiation. Now, what he said, when the radiation is incident on the metal surface, here is electron. When radiation is incident, it has some energy, right? Its energy, in this radiation only one photon or one quantum, these quantums of energy or bundles of energy is termed as photons by Einstein. Einstein called them photons. That bundle of energies having value h nu are termed as photons by Einstein. So only one photon will able to provide energy to one electron, and then only the electron is ejected. But still there are conditions. There are still conditions. What is the condition is the photon should have some specific amount of energy. First of all, some specific amount of energy and some specific amount of frequency. Radiation should have some specific amount of frequency also. The term arises threshold frequency. Denoted by mu naught. It is the minimum amount of frequency that is required, or this is the particular, it is the amount of or value of frequency for a particular metal below which there is no ejection of electron. Not a single electron will eject when if the frequency is below the threshold frequency. The value of frequency, what is threshold frequency? It is the value of frequency below which no electron is going to eject. See, that is called as threshold frequency. That means it is the minimum frequency required for ejection of electrons. Minimum frequency required for ejection of electrons. Similarly, one another term arises, that is work function. Now, what is work function? It is phi, and it is observed experimentally, and this also observed experimentally, that what is work function? It is minimum amount of energy required to eject electron from metal surface. That energy is called as work function of that metal, and this is threshold frequency for a particular metal. Okay, it is of a particular metal. For different metals, different threshold frequency observed. These two observations, threshold frequency and work function. Now, Einstein correlated these things. What he did, he just used the law of conservation of energy, using law of conservation of energy and Planck's quantization concept. Einstein shown that, see, if this is metal surface, this is electron. Now these are the electrons. Radiation is going to the metal surface is irradiated. Because of this radiation, energy of this radiation will be, let's say, the incident photon has energy h nu. Okay, it has energy of h nu. Now what happens? Electron gain energy of h nu. The total gain of energy by electron is h nu. So it is total energy. Now it is utilized by this electron for two things. First of all, it will eject from the metal surface, right? It have to eject from the metal surface. Here metal is binding the electron, right? It is, suppose this is sodium metal, then it is outermost electron of the sodium metal. It will be the outermost electron of the sodium metal, and sodium has some nuclear force on that metal, on that electron, right? Z effective nuclear charge. So as nucleus has attractive force for the electron, to break that force, electron will spend some energy, which is it obtained from the photon or radiation, that is h nu. It will spend it to eject from the metal surface, to go out of the to oppose the attraction by the nucleus. So that is called as minimum amount of energy, and it is denoted by phi, work function. To get ejected, to get just ejected. And now after that, the remaining amount of energy, what it will do? It has h nu amount of energy. Out of that, phi is used to get ejected, and remaining energy is utilized to move away from the metal. The remaining energy is utilized to movement, and that is called as kinetic energy, right? The motion is denoted by kinetic energy. So we can write kinetic energy. What is formula for kinetic energy? General formula is half mv square, and it is equal to h nu minus phi. This equation is given by Einstein, very important equation. Let me number that equation. It is number 7. Equation number 7. Just give the numbers to all the equations which we have discussed in previous classes. This is number 7 equation. So we get this kind of equation from the Einstein have got this type of equation with the law of conservation of energy and quantization concept. Now we have said that nu naught, that means threshold frequency, it is minimum amount of frequency required to eject the electron. Below that no electron can eject, electron cannot eject. So what will be that frequency? Suppose energy, what is phi? It is energy, minimum energy to just eject electron, it is denoted by phi. And now energy to just eject the electron can be represented by h nu, but it is h nu naught, right? To just eject electron it will be h nu naught, that means why? Because we are using frequency is as threshold frequency, that means minimum amount of frequency required to eject. So E is equal to h nu naught also and E is equal to phi also. So we can write h nu naught as h nu naught is equal to phi. H nu naught is equal to phi. This is another relation. Let's number it at 8. And now see, we can substitute this value here. What will happen? Kinetic energy now will be equal to h nu minus h nu naught. Equation number 9. We got this equation. Now we can say that, see, this is kinetic energy. Have you seen ever the kinetic energy has negative value? Minus 3.4 joule kinetic energy? No, never. Kinetic energy is never negative. So it will always be positive. And now what will be the value of h nu? H nu can be written as kinetic energy plus h nu naught. That means these both values are positive. Hence h nu will always greater than or equal to h nu naught. H nu will always greater than or equal to h nu naught. H nu naught means phi. We can write h nu is always greater than or equal to phi also. Why? Because this side of the equation will always positive and it will always get the addition of these two terms either. That means greater, the value will be greater than this value, or value of h nu will always be greater than phi work function. Or if the kinetic energy becomes 0, at that situation it will be equal to work function. Okay, energy will be equal to work function, h nu will be equal to phi at that time. So h nu is always either it is greater than phi or it is equal to phi. That's it. This is all about photoelectric effect. These equations are very important to solve the problems. Now yes, we have obtained the relation that kinetic energy is equals to h nu minus h nu naught. Now can you compare this equation with any another equation? See, we have the if we have to plot the graph of kinetic energy versus frequency, how will we plot that? See, it is the equation of straight line. Can you see? Y is equals to mx plus c. This straight line, equation of straight line. Now here kinetic energy is equal to y, so it is on y axis. Now frequency is x, which is on x axis. Now what will be the slope? Slope of the line will be h. And what will be the intercept? This is y intercept, c is the y intercept. Now we will get it negative, or we can write just simply C. C is equals to minus h nu. That means the line will have negative slope or positive slope, C, like this. When it will be negative, it will like this, then we can say that the slope is negative. But here slope is positive, that is h. This is h, and the intercept is negative. C, what it is? H nu naught, minus h nu naught. Here 0, here 1, 2 and all, and here minus 1, minus 2, like this. So we get negative y-intercept and positive slope, and graph is straight line for photoelectric effect. And for different metals, the like sodium metal and all, the experimental values, when we observe the values experimentally and plot the graph, then this graph and theoretical graph matches perfectly. There is perfect match between these graphs. So the equation is valid for photoelectric effect. Where classical theory fails, the quantization theory succeeded in this case. Now for problems, the 1 unit electron volt, always there. So we should know the conversion. What is 1 electron volt? It is just, if we have a particle, this is particle, it has a charge of either plus E or minus E. That means either charge of proton or either charge of electron. That means the magnitude is 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. This amount of charge, if one particle contains, and it falls through potential difference of 1 volt. It is falling through potential difference of 1 volt, then the energy possessed by this particle is denoted by electron volt, 1 electron volt. If the particle having charge of electron or proton and it is falling through the potential of 1 volt, potential drop of 1 volt, then the energy is called as 1 electron volt. Okay, then the unit is called energy is 1 electron volt. Now we know that E is equals to Q into, or charge into potential, Q into V, right? We know this relation. That means Coulomb into volt. Coulomb into volt is energy and it is in joule. So we can say that energy in joule, charge in coulomb, and potential is in volt. So joule is equal to 1 coulomb into 1 volt. Now here also we can write its energy is equal to 1 coulomb. Coulomb charge is, or we can write C. The energy possessed by this particle is E in electron volt. Electron volt. It is equal to, what is charge of this particle? 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19. It is coulomb into, what is potential drop? 1 volt. 1 in volt. So electron volt is also equal to coulomb into 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb into volt. So electron volt is equal to 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb into volt, right? 1 electron volt is equal to 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb volt. And what is coulomb volt? It is joule. So we can write 1 electron volt is equal to 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 joule. You should remember this value, okay? This is unit conversion. 1 electron volt is equal to 1.602 into 10 raised to minus 19 joule. That's it. So this is all about photoelectric effect, which is explained perfectly by Einstein, Sir Albert Einstein. Now in the next lecture we will see the problems on the photoelectric effects. Thanks for watching, and if you have any comment, then you have any doubts, then please let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.